I'm respectfully asking you to place the 1/4% sales and use tax on 2026 ballot.
On the 1/4-cent sales tax.
About the 1/4-cent sales tax.
But when people see that word tax.
If you live in Alamance County, they're about to intensify the campaign rhetoric for you to vote to tax yourself an extra 1/4 cent on almost every purchase that you make. Make no mistake about it, it will be a permanent tax and it will never be repealed. It will apply to almost everything that you buy. And number 3, it will not stop them from increasing your property taxes. I'll show you who's going to push for it and why you should oppose it right after this. Well, hello and welcome to Alamance County Talks Politics. Well, here we go again. The 1/4-cent sales tax, otherwise known as Article 46, has been voted down by Alamance County residents 4 times, once in 2010, 2012, 2018, and 2020. But now they think they have the strategic plan to convince you to pull the lever and vote yes to tax yourself an extra 1/4 cent on practically everything you purchase. Well, just how do they plan to pull this off? Well, I call it strategic plan step number 1. They're going to team up or coordinate together with different leadership groups in Alamance County. Listen to this clip from the June 2025 County Commissioner meeting.
Actually I was talking to someone and they said, how could we get even maybe the school system to help with this? Is there a resolution or some way that we can ask the legislators about the 1/4-cent sales tax?
Hey, listen, I'll be retired here in 16 months. I'll be out there again, if people need me to try to get it. And maybe I can do a better job with sales tax.
Well, it appears this group they're going to team up and they're going to coordinate. So it's going to be comprised, it looks like, of maybe a couple of commissioners, maybe several of the ABSS school board, state legislators. I know of one state legislator who has given their support to the 1/4-cent sales tax. And I've heard that they're going to also coordinate with the Alamance County Chamber of Commerce, along with other nonprofits. So they're going to team up. They're going to coordinate together. So first, that's what they're going to do. Second, they're going to craft a strategic message that they're going to repeat over and over and over again, trying to convince you to put a 1/4-cent sales tax on practically every purchase that you make. Listen to this clip for narrative number 1. It's short, but listen to it.
It doesn't go on gas. It doesn't go on food.
So notice this is the narrative number 1. They're going to tell you what the 1/4-cent sales tax does not apply to. But what they do not tell you, and is what they avoid telling you, is what it does apply to. So what I've done is I've got a list here of items that this is going to apply to, and I want you to notice the 1/4-cent sales tax. If you vote for it, if it is on the ballot in November of 2026, you have clothing and accessories. So clothing and accessories, shirts, pants, shoes, jewelry, handbags, belts, socks, anything that you buy, clothing and accessories for that. Electronics. We're talking about you buy a big screen TV, you want a computer, you want a laptop, you want a tablet, you want a phone. It's going to apply to these electronic devices. And just going to Best Buy and look, practically everything you look at, it's going to apply to. How about appliances? Let's say you need a new refrigerator. Let's say you need a new washer and dryer. Let's say you need a new stove or you need a new dishwasher or microwave. You're going to pay the 1/4-cent sales tax on those items. How about home goods and furniture, sofas, beds? You need a new living room suit. You're going to pay for the whole suit, and you're going to pay the 1/4-cent sales tax while paying for that. Also, beds. You need a new bedroom suit. You're going to pay the 1/4-cent sales tax. Tables, lamps, dishes, cookware, bedding, and towels. How about toys, games, and hobbies? Board games, video games, sporting goods. I mean, some of you have kids that play basketball, baseball, or football. If they need cleats in football and baseball or softball, they'll need batting gloves. They'll need a glove, and also they'll need a bat. If you've been in Dunham's Sports, or you've been in Dick's Sporting Goods, or you've been in Academy, those bats are not cheap. You're going to pay the 1/4-cent sales tax on those items. How about books, magazines, printed materials, personal care items such as cosmetics, toiletries, over-the-counter medicines, and hair products, automotive, tires. I know somebody's bought 2 sets of tires in 1 year, $1,000 a set, $2,000 for the year. Some people will pay $1,500 to $2,000 for a set of tires. Also, you're talking about car parts, whatever you buy for the car, accessories. How about hardware and tools? Tools, paint, lumber. How about if you need a new lawnmower, lawn equipment, you need a new lawnmower, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. If you need a new generator, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. You need a new pressure washer, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. You need a new blower or a weed eater, just practically anything that you purchase, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. Also, office and school supplies. How about outdoor and recreational? You need a new patio set, a grill, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. Camping gear, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. You pay for pet supplies, gift items, seasonal decorations. You're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. And I save the best for last. Let's say, how many of you go out and eat every day, or maybe 3 or 4 times a week? If you go out to eat, this tax does apply to prepared food. So if you go to Texas Roadhouse, you go to Longhorn, you go to Olive Garden, you go to Chili's, you go to the Waffle House, you go to McDonald's, Wendy's, Bojangles, you go to Hardee's or Burger King, or you go to Danny's, or you go to Blue Ribbon, or you go to any restaurant that you can think of, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. It does apply to prepared foods. You go to the grocery store, if you buy a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, you're going to pay the quarter-cent sales tax. It applies to those items. You buy candy, it's going to apply to those items. So I guess I'm saying the point that I'm trying to make is the narrative. The strategic part of this is they're going to tell you what it does not apply to. I'm trying to tell you what it does apply to, so that when you walk in those stores, remember, these are the items that it applies to. So secondly, the second part of the strategic messaging campaign, they're going to try to convince you that 60 to 65% of this tax will be paid by people who are not residents of Alamance County. I'm going to explain right after this clip.
60% or 65% of our sales tax money comes from outside Alamance County. It's people going up and down the interstate.
Plus, we don't know what percentage, but we know that some percentage of the sales tax in Alamance County, sales tax revenue coming to Alamance County, is coming from people who don't live here.
Right.
Where the
I
property
think the
tax
chamber
comes
said
from
60.
citizens of Alamance County.
I think the chamber
Just
said
a
60%.
clarification.
So in that video, you had Commissioner Allen stating that 60 to 65% of Alamance County sales tax are being paid by people who are not residents of Alamance County. Commissioner Carter said, we don't know the exact percentage, but we do know that some percentage of our sales tax is being paid by people who are not residents of Alamance County. So the question I have is 60 to 65% of our sales tax being paid by people who are not residents of Alamance County? Well, that's what Commissioner Allen stated. And so I started asking, how did she arrive at this 60 to 65%? Where did this number originate? I've heard that numerous times. And she said that in the video that according to the chamber, so she's referring to the Alamance County Chamber of Commerce. So I looked back and I located a resolution from the Alamance County Chamber of Commerce. It was dated January the 30th of 2020. So what I want to do now is I want to show you this slide here. And this was the slide from the Alamance County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to scroll up here just a second for you to see. Let me scroll up here. So you can see this is from the Alamance County Chamber. It also has a date of January 30th, 2020, you can see. And this was at a time when they were trying to convince Alamance County residents to vote for the sales tax initiative, Article 46. So Chamber President Mac Williams added that Alamance County has a unique opportunity with the sales tax. And why does he say that? Because a lot of our retail sales and related taxes in Alamance County are paid by non-residents. Williams says that the county is ranked 17th in state population. Now, remember, this is 6 years ago. We are now 15th, according to the Census Bureau, in state population. He also says that at that time, we were 10th in overall retail sales. Now, I'm not sure if they're talking about retail, including everything, because we were not 10th in retail sales. We may have been 10th in apparel sales, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And they said we were also 14th in retail sales per capita. Right now, we are 15th in the state in population. We're 14th or 15th in retail sales per capita based on what number you use as far as a year. And also, I'm going to show you that I think what they're referring to here is 10th in overall in apparel sales. So notice what he concludes. But based on this information that he gave us, he says this demonstrates to us that retail sales are higher than our county population should be able to support on its own. We have a lot of other people from outside the county contributing to our local Alamance County tax base. So I wondered, who gave them this number, the 60 to 65% number. And I really haven't seen that number. I haven't been able to find it. So if the chamber still stands by that, I'd love to see how they arrive at that number, because I do believe it to be an error, and I don't believe they would go along with this information that is from 6 years ago. So this is why I do not believe that 60 to 65% of our sales tax is being paid by people outside of Alamance County. So let me show you here. So here is the annual sales and use tax for 2024-2025. Alamance County ranks 15th in total annual state sales and use tax statistics. We rank 15th. You can look at these other counties and you can see they're not in numeric order, they're in alphabetical order. And so Alamance County, I've got it highlighted in red, and you can see we are 15th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and Alamance County is 15th up here. So we're 15th in retail in those types of sales. Now, you asked the question, how did you, I'm going to go back to this tab, and you asked the question, how did you arrive at that? So I'm going to share this tab with you, and I'm going to I hope you'll do this. You go to the North Carolina Department of Revenue website, and you see that this is the Department of Revenue, and it's annual state sales and use tax statistics, fiscal year 2024-2025. So I scroll on down here, and I have access to every county. I got Alamance, Alexander, Allegheny. So I went through this whole list, and I actually tried to find, I actually put together a spreadsheet where Alamance County ranked 15th in the total, state and sales tax, state sales tax use, I believe it is what they call it. But overall, Alamance County had $3.7 billion in sales. And of that total, apparel sales accounted for $189 million. Now, if you divide that apparel figure by the $3.7 billion and you multiply it by 100, it'll yield approximately 5%. So in other words, about 5% of Alamance County's reported sales and use tax activity is apparel related, and major retail destinations in the county, such as Tanger Outlet and Alamance Crossing. And let me say Alamance Crossing, which just recently filed Chapter 11, they specialize heavy in apparel and related merchandise. The data therefore indicates that apparel represents only a small slice of the broader $3.7 billion total. It represents only 5% of that total. Also, there are no publicly available records that track the precise residence of each purchaser at the point of sale. So if you go to Food Line and you make a sale, they don't ask you what county or what county you're from, or if you live in Alamance County. So consequently, because they don't do that, it is impossible to determine with certainty the share of those sales that are made by Alamance County residents versus non-residents. And by the way, do Alamance County residents purchase clothing? Of course we do. We contribute to this percentage, probably upwards of maybe 3.5% to 4%. Though the exact figures it cannot be confirmed without residency data that the Department of Revenue does not collect. However, I can tell you that claims that 60 to 65% of Alamance County's sales tax revenue comes from non-residents, it's based on information that is more than 6 years old and no longer appears consistent with the Department of Revenue statistics. Those older figures are outdated and inaccurate under present conditions. So let's not forget where we are. Let's not forget, number one, that they're going to team up. They're going to collaborate. Let's not forget that they're going to tell you what the sales tax does not apply to instead of telling you what it does apply to. Next, they're going to tell you that, hey, the majority of this sales tax, if you pass it, is going to be paid by people who are not even residents of Alamance County. Now, there are going to be some that are going to tell you that you need to vote for this because this money is going to be used for the schools. It's going to be used for the emergency services and things of that nature. And they're going to tell you this, but I want you to be reminded. Do you remember in 2005 when we were told that the money for the North Carolina Education Lottery was going to go to the schools? I believe it was 35%. Well, if you fast forward to 2026, from what I'm seeing, it's between 16 to 20% now is going to the school systems to help in their capital improvement programs. That's what I've been reading. And so I'm just telling you, things change. You need to really question whether your government can keep its word or not. And I'm hesitant to trust that. Number two, they're going to tell you that this is going to help offset your property taxes. They're telling you that we're going to bring in between, I think, $7 to $9 million approximately through this local option sales tax or Article 46. Well, let's say we bring in $8 million. Let's just split it in the middle. Let's say we bring in $8 million. Do you realize that in 2026, the Alamance County manager, Heidi York, came before the county and she had to shore up a $13 million shortfall in the county budget. $13 million. So let's say we had the $8 million. Let's say we got that $8 million. It would have been a $5 million shortfall. So it's close to 2 cents on your property tax. This is not going to stop them from raising or increasing your property taxes. If you give government the money, they will spend it. They never have enough. And so all I'm trying to tell you is this. Let me encourage you not to vote for this. Let me encourage you to be able to keep your money. Just be reminded time after time of how you're going to spend the money when you're out in the stores. Just be mindful of that. And if they put it on the ballot in 2026, let me encourage you to vote no. If they wait and put it on the ballot in 2028, again, vote no. I'll publish another video. But I encourage you to vote no on the local option sales tax. Vote no on this Article 46. Well, this is Alamance County Talks Politics. Until next time, take care.